Hello everyone. Today we are in a new session of Secret Tour videos with our pilot projects. And with me is Drejc Kokosar from IDRIA, a project manager from ID20 Institute. Drejc, hi, hello.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
Drejc, to start with, can you briefly describe the IDRIA pilot case and its main challenges?
So, yes, our pilot is actually titled Digital Nomadism in Heritage-Rich Communities. And it focuses actually on the house Gisser and IDRIA miners' houses, which we want to develop as experiential centers for digital nomads, artisans, and creatives. So it's part of, sustainable solutions that we are developing within the Secret Tour project. And I think this one is a really nice example because it focuses on the co-creation with the local community, with the heritage community also, and it focuses mostly on the experiential tourism. So, but still involves heritage safeguarding and is focused on the culture tourism sector, which is one of the sectors that's not only IDRIA but also Slovenia as a destination wants to develop, and we want to provide some kind of a solution to tackle this, challenge. And if we talk about the main challenges that we can provide through the project, is that these challenges mostly are connected with the challenges of IDRIA tourism as a whole, so as a destination. So just briefly to explain, IDRIA is a UNESCO heritage site in Western Slovenia, which actually has some tourism, culture tourism mostly, but the numbers are not very high. On one side, of course, this means that we have mostly a sustainable tourism. On the other side, of course, if you invest money and you don't have a feedback, return in profit, of course, this brings many other challenges. So, but an example, what is interesting about IDRIA is that, in my opinion, opinion of ID20 and other actors in the area, we lack experimental tourism. We have a lot of potential in it, but unfortunately, it's not so strong as we would like to have. So on one side, we have mining heritage, because it was a former mercury mine, but we don't really develop, sustainable approaches that would include the heritage community, the local community. And I think that digital nomads can be a solution for this. So to attract digital nomads to provide experiential activities for them, on example, a retreat, 3 weeks retreat or longer. And they would not only be here for normal tourism activities, but they would be involved in other activities. They would become a part of community, developing new activities for digital nomads by the local community and, of course, heritage community. What I also see is that it would bring new life to miners' houses in India, which lack, solutions which would be long-term sustainable. Many of them are in decay. There is not many of them, not more than 10, 20, which are suitable for accommodation. And we want to change this and to show also other people that don't believe anymore in the heritage as a built heritage as a opportunity to provide accommodation, to provide tourism accommodation, that this kind of culture tourism, sustainable tourism solutions could be fruitful to develop something bigger in a longer scale.
Drejc, can you explain us a little bit more? What are the heritage communities that you're working with within this pilot?
So that's a good question, actually. Heritage community is kind of a network of actors who safeguard, activate, reinterpret IDRIA as cultural assets. But in our pilot, things are a little bit more, complicated, because on one side we have local heritage communities, These are residents, an example, owners and inhabitants of miners' houses deeply attached to heritage, and then tourism hospitality providers. On example, this could be accommodation hosts, guides, gastronomy providers, restaurants, so on. And then also we have creative culture industries like artisans, lace makers, because lace is important, Idria lace is important in our area. Craftspeople performers who would provide an experiential tourism for these digital nomads. And of course, we also have institutions, NGOs who would we connect with them. But on the other side, of course, we also have tourists, because tourists are not just typical tourists who stop here for 1 or 2 days, but we are talking about digital nomads or urban creatives who would come here to Idria for more than 1 week. In our case, we want to develop experiential tourism for 3 weeks. So in that way, they become kind of a temporary residents who work, live, and experience the town and the region itself.
What are the main activities that you're doing within the Secret Tour project?
So the goal of the Idria pilot is to organize immersive co-create activities to connect nomads, so digital nomads, and locals. So the main goal of the project is to develop a retreat in Slovenia, which we want to place in the house Gisser, the miner's house, which we actually own, and we already provide some activities there already. And we have a heritage community that is building, and we want to provide something that involves this heritage community. But of course, this is not the only goal. One very important goal is to develop a business model for the development of retreats and other activities in Idria, but would also provide some possibilities to provide these activities in other regions. So it might serve as a kind of template for other similar retreats and models that would incorporate cultural heritage. We have already implemented one webinar on digital nomadism in rural areas, where we talk about opportunities of digital nomads for rural areas. We have involved 3 very interesting persons which are very much involved in the digital nomadism, and we plan to have 1 or 2 more sessions next year and in 2027. We will also develop a survey for colleagues, for digital nomads, to provide some statistical information, and we want also to provide some kind of one-on-one meetings where we will develop these activities further. Of course, it also serves for the business model development. And of course, it's also a part of the partnership networking. We have already connected with the project AirMap, EDIM project, another Interact project. So this is kind of a goal what we want to achieve. So first of all, develop partnership, and through business model and retreat pilot, prove that digital nomadism is really important for heritage-rich communities in Europe.
So if you try to think beyond the timeline of the project and beyond the scope of the Secret Tour project, what is actually your vision when it comes to digital nomadism in Idria?
So of course, we want to transform House Gisser into a living heritage hub for residences, maybe co-working or cultural programming, but mostly as a long-term tourism provision for digital nomads and cultural tourists. Then, of course, this sustainable business model to develop, which would actually develop either in an experiential center hub, which would involve artisans on a bigger scale than we do nowadays. We would like to also strengthen local capacity So digital literacy, hospitality, and storytelling skills. I think our project is a good example what we can do, because we also, of course, we want to implement some workshops for our local community. And long-term goal is to position Idria as a smart heritage town. So blending tradition with innovation, with digital storytelling, with global networks, and provide it as a replicable model to inspire other rural European regions to adopt heritage-based regeneration. And yes, so Idris pilot aims not only to attract visitors, but to weave heritage into everyday life, creating a resilient, globally recognized community where cultural legacy fuels sustainable futures.
Drejc, thank you for this discussion. I wish you all the best in your activities, and of course we will keep in touch through other means as well, so following up on your activities. Thank you.
Thank you for invitation. I hope that my insight was, beneficial for the activities. Thank you.